Hello, everyone. So I am back. No, it's been a bit since I touched Pillar Chase 2 or Roblox in general, but I figured I would make a follow-up video to my last Pillar Chase video regarding my thoughts on the game. Uh, this is after the overhaul update this time. I think it's a pretty important update, and I just wanted to get my thoughts on it. Maybe throw a few suggestions in there, but most of what I said in my last video still applies. So if you want to know like my full thoughts, I would check out that video. I should have it like in the top of this video, like a little info card or whatever you can click on to watch that. But enough of that. Let's just get into the actual video. I think the update was good. I like the upgrades. I think that's a nice addition to the game. I think it helps create a bit more variety, makes chases more interesting, it makes the overall gameplay a bit more interesting, and it adds on to the normal gameplay loop. I wouldn't say it makes the gameplay loop overall better, but I do think it adds something, and I think that's the biggest factor for why I just did not want to play the game at all, because there was like nothing to do, and it still is a prevalent issue. I don't want to add like this update just fixed everything, but I do think it is a step in the right direction. So I got to give Blade Ninja and the other devs credit where credit is due. The game is good right now. Okay, I think the update definitely improved things, but I have seen the player count not really grow much at all, and I have seen a lot of people voice their frustrations with the update. So needless to say, it seems to be a bit controversial, and I think there's a few reasons for that. The main one being that upgrades didn't really fix the main problem with the game, which is that it does feel kind of boring in the match after the first few minutes or so when you get your objectives done. And there is basically nothing to do besides just running around the map and maybe bumping into the killer, and then you either die or you get away, and then you sit there and do basically nothing. Not exactly a very fun gameplay loop. And I do think upgrades did make it a bit easier to survive, which is kind of one of the bigger problems as well. But I think it addressed only one of the like core problems with the game versus all of them. It's not really like a one size fits all kind of thing. It's more so like a one problem was addressed. I think upgrades overall are good though. I like a few of them. I haven't gotten all the upgrades, but I have tested out a few of them, like clarity, the speed boost upgrade, the duplicate upgrade, the invincible upgrade, explode, upgrades like that. I think I used like two or three of them in this video. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember using at least two or three of them. So you can see you can get like a general idea of what upgrade gameplay is like. It's not anything crazy, but it did help me in a few of these cases, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun to try and beat the odds with that. But I do think that for the game to have a longer lifespan and for people to just be more interested in it in general, I do think that they should address the bigger problem with the game, which is that once you do objectives, there isn't really anything else to do. I think upgrades that would help other survivors, or upgrades that would like directly impede the monster instead of just like awkwardly maybe affecting the monster but not really, kind of like parry stance, I think would be good features to the game. Also, items that could help other survivors, I think would be good additions. So I guess overall I do think it helped the gameplay loop, but I don't think it's like enough to make me want to keep playing the game all that much, at least a bit more than I do now. I would say I played the game probably like once every few days to a week. I used to play this game like almost every day just so I could grind for skins and stuff. But I have been playing the game less, and I think a big reason for that is because there isn't really much to do once you get all the monsters and all the skins you want. There's really much of a reason to play the game, right? And I don't want to grind for diamond skins. I will grind for some gold skins, but I don't want to put in all that effort to grind for diamond skins because it just takes so long. And I think that's another issue that I could get into, but I won't touch on that mostly for this video. But I do think grinding should be a little easier, at least for monsters. Survivors, whatever, but monsters, because there's actually like skins and quotes you can get and all that. I know you can technically get skins for survivors, but like whatever, it's Survivor. You're playing as that most time. It's not really a big deal. They could make it a little easier, but it's whatever. Monsters, on the other hand, I do think there should be like an XP buff. I do think monsters should be able to get XP easier. Right now, it's just really annoying. And that's the biggest reason why I stopped grinding Vapor to Diamond, because it was just so hard to get XP. It isn't that I necessarily hate playing as Vapor. I think especially now with the rework, it took me a bit to get used to it, but I have started getting used to it after that first match, which you saw at the beginning of this video. I didn't know how to play the rework because that was my first match of the rework, and I sucked at it. But I have gotten better since that match, and I do think that the rework was cool. I won't touch on his rework too much for this video, but I think it was definitely something he needed to make his playstyle a little more interesting. I kind of hope other monsters like Rosemary and like Aloni and stuff get reworks like that, because they're also pretty old monsters, and I think they could benefit from having a bit of an upgraded playstyle. Just make them feel a bit more modern and more interesting to play. Especially in Vapor's case, because he was one of the starter monsters. Well, he is one of the starter monsters. So making him have a more interesting playstyle is definitely a plus. Moving on from monsters, though, well, I guess kind of not moving on from monsters. Depends on how you look at it. But one thing I really wanted to bring up in this video was Monster Chance. I really don't like how Monster Chance is handled in the game right now. I don't think the percentages are technically RNG based, at least not in the current game. I do remember when I was testing for this update. I'm not a tester, by the way. I just went into a testing server. I do remember it was RNG based because, as I mentioned in my last video, I had an instance where I had a very high percentage of being monster, and then someone with a smaller percentage ended up becoming the monster before me, and that kind of sucked. It wasn't a huge deal, but it was still a problem in my mind, because that means that it was RNG based. And I don't like that. And I mentioned this in my last video as well. I mentioned a lot of this in my last video, that's all you need to know. But I'm glad that it isn't RNG based. However, I would still change it a bit, because it does take a while to become monster. I mean, on average, it takes me a good probably like 30 to 40 minutes to become monster. Whereas in other games, I can usually become the killer in maybe around like 20 minutes or so. Maybe 30 to 40 minutes if I'm not really trying, but it's fairly easy if you know what you're doing. That's what I'm trying to say. So I do think they should make getting Monster Chance a little easier, because right now it just kind of, I don't know, it just feels so slow. And because servers can also be a lot larger and more people can start joining and filling up lobbies, it gets incredibly irritating when you're basically stuck as a survivor for like actually over half of the entire time that you play the game. It's just, and I covered my issues with survivors earlier, so you combine that with the fact that you can't even be monster for all that long. Like, you can barely be monster in this game at all, it seems. And it just sucks. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it is just me. But, I don't know. It takes a while to become monster, and I think they should shorten that amount of time. I think they could give you more monster chance for things. Like, for example, I think at one point they gave you 2 monster chance for winning a round. I don't know if they still do that anymore, especially since they added the new, like, percentage system. But I think they should bring that back if they kind of reverse the whole percentage and they just, like, rename it or something. I think that's what they should do, just to avoid confusion with the whole percentage thing, because it's not technically percentage based to my knowledge. Again, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's necessarily percentage based. I think it is just based on whoever has the highest value. But still, I don't really like that it's like shown as a percentage based, even if it's not like actually RNG. Anyways, that aside, I do think you should get more monster chance. I think if maybe per se you got objectives done, you should get like half a point for each objective. Not like objective sets. I meant like each individual like task as part of an objective set, or each individual objective. So for example, like in pillar drainage system. Oh my god. I think it would be cool if every time you clean one of the vents, you got like half a monster chance point, or like half a point or something. And then that would just add up for each objective. I think that'd be cool. Then again, might be maybe a little too much, but they could balance it out. It could work. I just think adding more ways to get monster chance would be very beneficial for the game. Also, slight point I wanted to bring up. I do thank the developers for raising the coin cap, because I'm glad that I can get more coins in a match now. However, I think it would be cool if they could raise it to at least 100, or maybe make it so that there wasn't a coin cap at all in any regard. Not even just the amount you get in match, but also just the amount of coins you can have at once for your like whole profile. Because I just want to be able to like farm coins efficiently and like get a lot of skins and stuff. And I think it would make the game more fun if I could work towards a bunch of different skins without it feeling like I had to literally give them a foot in order to get a skin that I want. I think that'd be nice. I do appreciate that every skin can be worked for in this game, besides the ones that are limited and stuff, but I mean, that makes sense, I guess. I do agree that it's not scummy and just locks a bunch of skins behind a paywall or forces you to play the game for like hundreds of hours to get it. I'm glad this game doesn't do that, but I would like it to be a little easier to grind coins, and I think removing the coin cap is definitely a right step. Is definitely a step in the right direction. So I think that would definitely help things. I think that'd be cool. Ignore the little scream I did. It doesn't matter. Point is, I think that would be good. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. God damn it. I also wanted to bring up the fact that I think maps in this game are like way too dark. That's a big issue I have with a lot of maps, is that they're just really dark. Like I didn't really bring it up a whole lot in my other video, but like, I mean, really, this game is dark. It is hard to see things half the time. I feel like the game really just wants you to have a flashlight. Which I get it, you know, it's part of the horror aesthetic, I suppose, but I don't really find it scary anymore. I just kind of find it, like, annoying that half the map is always just shrouded in darkness and I can't see anything, and the killer can see everything on the map. Like, just let me see stuff. Like, I get it. I mean, it takes a bit away from the horror vibe, but not really. I mean, like, if I can see the killer slowly sneak up on me from a corner, that's still gonna scare me. It's gonna scare me more than if it was just pitch black all the time and I couldn't see anything. So, in my opinion, they should just make maps brighter, because I hate playing on maps like The Ward or, what was the other map? Oh, yeah, Gilgamesh. Well, Gilgamesh isn't terrible, I get. Well, no, it is pretty bad. Any map that's dark in general, I just hate it. The mainland is fine, Goblin Run is okay, but like any map like The Ward or Gilgamesh, or I think even the Joy of Creation to an extent, I just hate those maps because they're so freaking dark. I can't see anything. So I would definitely fix that. I think overall it would make the game a bit more entertaining. More so just less annoying. I don't like having to bring a flashlight in those maps just to play on it, because it's not fun. But I guess that about wraps up this video. I've been rambling on for a little long now. I don't want this video to be longer than, like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something, so I just wanted to give my thoughts on the update. There's not much to say. I think it's a good step in the right direction, but I think they do really need to improve the fundamental aspects of the game, like the Survivor gameplay loop and how it feels uninteresting to engage with the match after getting objectives done. I think the biggest problem with the whole monster thing is just becoming the monster in the first place, because it just takes way too long. So I think if they reworked a few things and they do add some more cool abilities and items in the future. I know recently they teased AO1 and stuff, and he's going to be a cool monster. I'm really excited for him to come out, but you know, it's going to be one of those situations like with Stricken where I played the update and then I made a video on it, and then that was about it. I didn't really do anything else after I got him, and I played a few matches. Like, that's about it. So I think for longevity's sake, I do hope they continue to improve on the fundamental aspects of the game, more so than just worrying about whatever monster is going to be next or whatever upgrades they're going to add or whatnot. But that's all I got to say. Like, I don't really know. I don't know if I even want to make many more videos on this game, because there's not much for me to talk about. It's not a bad game. I don't know what to talk about that, like, a lot of other people haven't already said, or these people can just say better than I can, because I'm not great at articulating things, as you can tell. But that's enough for me. I think I've summarized everything. Okay, enough ranting. Let me just get the video out. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a good update. Okay, let me work on the video. Goodbye.